7 years. 7 years of 12-hour shifts, of holding dying patients' hands while my feet screamed in cheap sneakers, of eating vending machine dinners at 3 a.m. because I couldn't afford to eat out. 7 years of saying no to vacations, no to new clothes, no to basically everything that makes life worth living. All for one goal: saving enough money to buy my own place. My name is Natalia, and I'm a nurse at St. Mary's General. 29 years old, perpetually exhausted, and apparently the family ATM. The call came on a Tuesday. Mum's voice was shaking so hard I could barely understand her. "Natalia, you need to come home, now, it's an emergency." My stomach dropped. Dad's heart condition? Mum's diabetes acting up again? I was already grabbing my keys, calculating how fast I could drive across town without getting pulled over. "What happened? Is someone hurt?" "Just come, please." "We need you here." I broke at least 3 traffic laws getting to their house. The front door was unlocked, which sent another wave of panic through me. I burst through the living room, expecting to find paramedics, or at least someone bleeding. Instead, I found my 24-year-old sister, Olive, sitting on the couch, practically glowing, with my parents flanking her like bodyguards. A bottle of champagne sat open on the coffee table. "What the hell?" I said, still catching my breath. "Mum, you said it was an emergency." "It is an emergency," Mum said, her voice suddenly steady. "Olive has news." My sister held up her left hand. A diamond the size of a small country sparkled on her ring finger. "Bentley proposed," she squealed. "Can you believe it? We're getting married." I stared at them, all 3 of them, beaming like they'd just won the lottery while I stood there in my scrubs, having abandoned my shift because I thought someone was dying. "This is your emergency?" My voice came out flat. "A proposal?" "Don't be like that," Dad said, his tone already warning me to watch myself. "This is a big moment for our family." "I left work, Dad. I thought someone was hurt." "Well, now that you're here," Mum jumped in, "we need to talk about the wedding." Olive bounced on the couch. "We want to do it right, Nat. Like, really right. The dress, the flowers, the venue, everything perfect." "That's great," I said slowly. "Congratulations. The thing is," Dad said, settling into his recliner, "weddings are expensive. Really expensive." Here it comes, I thought. The ask, the guilt trip, the careful manipulation disguised as family loyalty. "We've been looking at venues," Mum continued, "and we found the perfect place. The Wild Ivy Estate. It's gorgeous, Natalia, like something out of a fairy tale." "Sounds nice," I said. "It costs $35,000 just for the venue," Olive said, her voice getting higher. "And that's before flowers, catering, the dress, everything else. We're looking at maybe $85,000 total." The number hit me like a physical blow. $85,000. The exact amount I had saved. The exact amount sitting in my account, earmarked for a down payment on a small house with a yard where I could finally breathe. "That's a lot of money," I managed. "We know it's a big ask," Dad said, leaning forward. "But family helps family. You've always been the responsible one, Natalia, the one we can count on. You want me to pay for Olive's wedding?" "Not pay for," Mum corrected quickly. "Help with, contribute to. It's an investment in your sister's happiness." "I've been saving that money for 7 years," I said. "It's for a house." "Houses will always be there," Olive said, her voice taking on that whiny edge I remembered from childhood. "But I can only get married once." "This is my dream, Nat." "Your dream costs $85,000? "Don't be selfish," Dad snapped. "This family has always supported each other. When you needed help with nursing school, who was there?" "I paid for nursing school myself," I said. "With loans I'm still paying off." "We gave you a place to live," Mum said. "Free room and board for 2 years after graduation so you could save money." "And I paid rent," I reminded her. "Every month." "Below market rate," Dad countered. I felt the walls closing in. The same old pattern, the same old guilt, the same old expectation that I would sacrifice whatever I wanted for whatever Olive needed. "I need to think about it," I said. "Actually," Mum said, her voice getting smaller. We already put down a deposit. The room went silent except for the ticking of the grandfather clock in the corner. What do you mean, you put down a deposit? We used the emergency fund, Dad said. The joint account. We figured you'd understand once you saw how happy Olive is. My emergency fund. The account we'd set up years ago for actual emergencies. The account I'd been contributing to every month. The account that had my name on it, but that Dad controlled. How much? I whispered. 15,000, Mom said. Just to hold the date. But Natalia, if you could see this place. You took $15,000 from our emergency fund to put a deposit on a wedding venue. It's not taking, Olive said, her voice getting defensive. It's using family money for family. I looked at my sister, really looked at her. 24 years old, never worked a job that lasted more than 6 months, living at home rent-free while I'd been grinding myself into dust to save for a future that apparently belonged to her now. I need to go, I said. Natalia, don't be dramatic, Mum called as I headed for the door. We can talk about this like adults. But I was already gone, driving home in a daze, my phone buzzing with texts I didn't read. That night I couldn't sleep. I kept staring at the ceiling, doing math in my head. 15,000 gone, 70,000 left. Not enough for the house I wanted. Maybe not enough for any house. At 2 a.m, I grabbed my laptop and started Googling. The Wild Ivy Estate wedding venue. I scrolled through photos of marble columns and crystal chandeliers, of gardens that looked like they belonged in a magazine. Then I found the booking information, the contract details, the fine print. And there it was, buried in the 3rd paragraph of the rental agreement. Primary account holder and legal signatory, Natalia Robertson. My name, on the contract. For a venue I'd never seen. For a wedding I wasn't even sure I was invited to anymore. I closed the laptop and smiled for the first time in hours. Maybe this emergency wasn't over yet. The confrontation happened 3 days later. I'd spent those days in a weird fog, going through the motions at work, while my brain churned over that contract detail. My name, my legal responsibility, my potential weapon. Mum called Friday morning, while I was getting ready for my shift. We need to talk, she said. All of us. Tonight. 7 o'clock. I'm working a double today. I won't be home until... This can't wait, Natalia. We need to finalise the wedding plans. The wedding plans that I'm apparently financing? Don't start with that attitude. Just be here. She hung up before I could respond. I showed up at 7:15, still in my scrubs, exhausted from dealing with a cardiac emergency that had kept me 2 hours past my shift. The living room felt like a courtroom. Dad in his chair, Mum on the couch, Olive curled up next to her like she was 12 instead of 24. You're late, Dad said. I was saving someone's life, I replied. Sorry for the inconvenience. Sit down, Mum said, patting the armchair across from them. We need to discuss your contribution to the wedding. My contribution? The remaining 70,000, Olive said, like it was obvious. We've already booked everything. The caterer, the photographer, the florist. It's all arranged. I sat down slowly. You booked $70,000 worth of services without asking me. We knew you'd say yes, Mom said. You always do the right thing. The right thing? Supporting your sister, Dad said. Being there for family when it matters. Where's Bentley in all this? I asked. Shouldn't the groom be contributing something? Olive's face flushed. His family doesn't believe in big weddings. They think it's wasteful. But they're fine with my family paying for it? It's not about them, Mum said quickly. It's about us. About showing Bentley's family that we can provide for our daughter. By bankrupting me. You're being dramatic, Dad said. It's not bankrupting, it's investing in family. I've been saving that money for 7 years to buy a house. You can save again, Olive said, her voice getting whiny. But I can't have another first wedding. This is it, Nat. This is my one chance to have everything perfect. I looked around the room, at my parents who'd raised me to be responsible and self-sufficient, now asking me to give up everything I'd worked for. At my sister, who'd never saved $1 in her life, expecting me to fund her fairy tale. "What if I say no?" I asked. The silence stretched for a long moment. "You won't say no," Mum said finally, "because that's not who you are. But hypothetically, what if I did?" Dad's jaw tightened. "Then you'd be selfish, and selfish people don't belong at family celebrations. Are you uninviting me from the wedding?" "We're asking you to be reasonable," Mum said. "To think about someone other than yourself for once." "For once?" My voice cracked. I've been thinking about everyone else my entire life. I worked through college while Olive partied. I lived at home and paid rent while she lived free. I've been the responsible one, the reliable one, the one who always says yes. And now you want me to give up my house so she can have a perfect wedding? "It's just a house," Olive said. "There will be other houses. It's not just a house. It's my future. It's my independence. It's 7 years of 60-hour weeks and ramen dinners and saying no to everything I wanted." "And we appreciate that," Dad said. "Which is why we know you'll do the right thing now." I stood up. "The right thing for who?" "For the family," Mum said. "For Olive. For all of us. What about what's right for me?" "Sometimes being part of a family means sacrifice," Dad said. "Your mother and I sacrificed for both of you girls. Now it's your turn." "You sacrificed for Olive," I said. "I've been sacrificing for Olive my whole life." "That's not fair," Olive said, tears starting. "I never asked you to—" "You're asking now," I cut her off. "You're asking for everything I have." "Because I love you," she said, crying now. "Because you're my sister, and I want you to be part of this. By paying for it. By supporting me. By being happy for me." I looked at her sitting there, tears streaming down her face, and felt something break inside me. Not my heart. That had been breaking slowly for years. Something harder, something that had been holding me back. "I need time to think," I said. "There's no time," Dad said. "The vendors need payment by Monday." "Then maybe you should have asked me before you booked them." "We're asking now," Mum said, "and we need an answer." I walked toward the door. "My answer is no." The explosion was immediate. "No!" Olive shrieked. "You can't say no. Everything's already arranged." "Then you'll have to unarrange it," I said. "Natalia!" Dad's voice was dangerous now. "You walk out that door without agreeing to help your sister, and you're not welcome back." I turned around. "Are you serious?" "Dead serious. This family supports each other. If you can't do that, then maybe you don't belong in this family." "Kenneth," Mum said quietly, but he held up a hand. "No, Andrea. She needs to understand. Family comes first. Always. If she can't accept that, then she can find somewhere else to spend her time." I looked at Olive, hoping for some sign that she thought this was going too far. Instead, she nodded. "I agree with Dad," she said through her tears. "If you can't be happy for me, if you can't support me when I need you most, then maybe you shouldn't be at my wedding anyway." The words hit me like a physical blow. 29 years of being the good daughter, the responsible one, the family problem solver, and this was what I got. An ultimatum. Pay up or get out. "Fine," I said. "I guess I won't be at your wedding." I walked out to a chorus of shouting, Mom crying, Olive screaming that I was ruining everything. I got in my car and drove home to my tiny apartment, hands shaking on the steering wheel. My phone started buzzing immediately. Text after text. "You're being selfish. This is your sister's wedding. Family doesn't abandon family. You're going to regret this." I turned off my phone and sat in my car in the parking lot, staring up at my building. The building I'd have to move out of now, because without that down payment money, I couldn't afford anything better. But I still had that contract, still had my name on that venue booking, and suddenly I had an idea. I called Riley at 6 a.m. Saturday morning. She'd been my friend since nursing school, but more importantly, she'd graduated law school 2 years ago and now worked at a firm downtown. "This better be good," she answered on the 4th ring. "I haven't had coffee yet. I need legal advice, like serious legal advice." "Natalia, what's wrong? You sound weird." My family stole my money and uninvited me from my sister's wedding, but my name is on the venue contract. There was a pause. Okay, I'm awake now. Come over. Bring coffee and every document you have. An hour later, I was sitting at Riley's kitchen table with a stack of papers while she read through the venue contract with her lawyer face on. This is interesting, she said, flipping to the second page. Very interesting. Good interesting or bad interesting? Good for you. Potentially catastrophic for them interesting. She looked up. You're listed as the primary account holder and legal signatory. That means you have full control over this booking. Even though they paid the deposit? Doesn't matter who paid. What matters is whose name is on the contract. And that's you. She grinned. Your family just handed you the nuclear option. What do you mean? You can cancel this booking anytime you want, or, she paused dramatically, you can keep it and use it for something else. My heart started racing. Something else like what? Whatever you want. It's your booking. Your legal right to that space on that date. I stared at the contract. They can't override me? Nope. They'd have to prove fraud or coercion to get you removed, and good luck with that. You're the account holder. You make the decisions. Riley, I think I want to do something crazy. How crazy are we talking? What if I told you I wanted to host an event at the venue on the same day as the wedding? Riley's eyes lit up. Now you're talking my language. What kind of event? I don't know yet. Something that would really drive home the point about family betrayal and financial abuse. A conference, maybe? Something empowering? Riley was getting excited now. Oh my God, Natalia, this could be epic. You think it's legal? Completely legal. Morally questionable, emotionally satisfying, and absolutely legal. I pulled out my phone. I need to make some calls. The first call was to the Wild Ivy estate. A cheerful voice answered. Wild Ivy, this is Cameron speaking. How can I help you? Hi, this is Natalia Robertson. I have a booking for next Sunday. Oh yes, Ms. Robertson. The wedding. How exciting. What can I do for you? Actually, there's been a change of plans. I need to modify the event details. Of course. What kind of modifications? It's not going to be a wedding anymore. I want to host a women's empowerment conference instead. There was a pause. A conference? Yes. About financial independence and family boundaries. I'm expecting about 100 attendees. Well, that's certainly different. Let me check our policies. I heard typing. Okay, as long as you're within the terms of your contract and the final payment is made, you can host whatever type of event you'd like. Perfect. What's the balance due? $27,000, due by Wednesday. My stomach dropped. 27,000. I had maybe 30,000 left after moving expenses. I'll have that to you by Tuesday, I said. Wonderful. Do you need any changes to the catering or floral arrangements? Actually, yes. Can you connect me with your event coordinator? I'll need to make some significant changes. Absolutely. I'll transfer you to Cameron in events. A different voice came on the line. This is Cameron in event coordination. I understand you're making some changes to your Sunday booking. Major changes. It's now a women's empowerment conference instead of a wedding. Interesting. What kind of setup are you thinking? Theatre-style seating, maybe 100 chairs, a podium for speakers, professional lighting for presentations. We can absolutely do that. What about catering? Something simple. Coffee, pastries, maybe a light lunch. Perfect. And decorations? Inspirational banners. Maybe some flowers, but nothing too fancy. This is about empowerment, not romance. I love it, Cameron said, and I could hear the smile in his voice. This sounds like exactly the kind of event we need more of. When can we meet to go over details? How about Monday morning? Perfect. I'll block out 2 hours for us. After I hung up, Riley was staring at me with something like awe. You're really doing this, she said. I'm really doing this. What about the money? 27,000 is a lot. It's everything I have left. But Riley, they took my house money. They uninvited me from my own sister's wedding. They chose Olive over me for the last time. And when they show up expecting a wedding, they'll find a conference about women who've been financially betrayed by their families. Riley started laughing. This is diabolical. I love it. You think I'm crazy? I think you're finally standing up for yourself. And I think your family is about to learn a very expensive lesson about consequences. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Hi, Natalia. This is Cameron from Wild Ivy. I've been thinking about your conference idea. I have some connections in the women's business community who might want to participate as speakers. Would you be interested in making this a real event? Not just revenge, but something meaningful. I showed Riley the text. Oh my God, she said. He's offering to help you make this legitimate. A real conference? Think about it. You could invite actual speakers, real attendees. Make it about something bigger than just getting back at your family. I stared at the text, my mind racing. What if I invited other nurses? Women who've been taken advantage of by their families? What if you made it about financial empowerment for women in healthcare? What if I actually tried to help people instead of just getting revenge? Riley grinned. What if you did both? I typed back to Cameron. I'm very interested. Let's talk Monday. Then I looked at Riley. I'm going to need help planning this? You've got it. But Natalia? Yeah? Your family's going to lose their minds. Good, I said. It's about time. My phone buzzed again. This time it was Olive posting on Instagram. A photo of her in a wedding dress at what looked like the Wild Ivy estate, with the caption, 1 week until my fairy tale begins. Can't wait to marry my prince at this magical venue. Blessed Gad, fairy tale wedding card, dreams come true. I showed Riley the post. She has no idea, Riley said. None at all. This is going to be legendary. Monday morning at the Wild Ivy estate, I met Cameron in person for the first time. He was younger than I'd expected, maybe early 30s, with kind eyes and the sort of genuine smile that made you trust him immediately. Ms. Robertson, he said, shaking my hand. I have to say, your conference idea has gotten everyone here excited. Really? Absolutely. We host a lot of weddings, but meaningful events like this? They're rare. And honestly, after hearing your story... You heard my story? Cameron's cheeks reddened slightly. Your sister called yesterday. She was very upset about some mix-up with the booking. She mentioned some family drama. What did she say exactly? That her selfish sister was trying to ruin her wedding out of jealousy. That you were holding the venue hostage because you couldn't be happy for her. I felt heat rise in my chest. And what did you tell her? That the booking is in your name, and we only take direction from the account holder. He smiled. She hung up on me. I bet she did. So, shall we talk about your conference? I've reached out to some contacts, and I think we can make this really special. We spent the next hour going over details. Cameron had connections with local women's business groups, healthcare advocacy organisations, even a few motivational speakers who specialised in financial empowerment. The theme could be reclaiming your worth, he suggested. We could have panels on setting boundaries, financial independence, dealing with family manipulation. That's perfect, I said. How many people are you thinking? I've already got interest from about 60 women. If we promote it right, we could easily fill 100 seats. And the cost? Well, that's the thing. Several of the speakers have offered to donate their time. The local women's shelter wants to sponsor the catering. This could actually cost you less than the original wedding setup. I stared at him. Are you serious? Dead serious. This community has been waiting for an event like this. You're not just getting revenge, Natalia. You're providing something people actually need. After the meeting, I drove straight to the bank. $27,000. It was everything I had left after moving to a cheaper apartment, but seeing Cameron's enthusiasm, knowing this could be something real and meaningful, made the decision easier. I'd like to make a wire transfer, I told the teller. Certainly. What's the amount? $27,000. She typed into her computer. That will leave your account with a balance of $3,000. $200. Are you sure? I thought about my sister's Instagram post, about my parents' ultimatum, about 7 years of sacrifice that had led to this moment. I'm sure. That afternoon, I was back at the hospital for a double shift when my phone started buzzing. Text after text from my family. Mum, Olive says you're trying to steal her venue. This has gone too far. Dad, fix this now, or you're out of this family permanently. Olive, I hate you. You're ruining everything. Bentley's family thinks we're crazy. I was in the middle of starting an IV when my phone rang. The charge nurse gave me a look, but I stepped into the supply closet to answer. Natalia, what the hell is going on? It was Bentley. I'd barely spoken to him in the 2 years he'd been dating Olive. Hi, Bentley. Congratulations on the engagement. Cut the crap. Olive is hysterical. She says you're stealing her wedding venue. I'm not stealing anything. The venue booking is in my name. Because your parents put down the deposit. With my money, from an account with my name on it. This is insane. You can't just cancel someone's wedding because you're jealous. I'm not cancelling anything. I'm using a venue that I legally booked for an event that I'm legally hosting. What event? A women's empowerment conference. There was a long pause. You're kidding. Not even a little bit. Natalia, this is Olive's dream wedding. She's been planning this for months. With my money, that she took without asking. It's family money. It's my money, that I saved for 7 years, that I was going to use to buy a house. You can buy a house later. And Olive can get married later. Maybe somewhere she can actually afford. Her parents already sent out invitations. Bentley's family is flying in from 3 states. The photographer, the caterer, everything is booked. Then maybe someone should have asked me before spending my life savings. This is going to humiliate her, in front of everyone. She humiliated me first. She took my money, uninvited me from her wedding, and told me I was selfish for wanting to keep what I'd worked for. So this is revenge? This is consequences. Bentley was quiet for a moment. My parents are going to think your family is completely insane. Your parents aren't contributing a dime to this wedding, are they? Another pause. That's not the point. That's exactly the point. Your family thinks big weddings are wasteful, but they're perfectly happy to let my family go broke paying for one. It's not like that. It's exactly like that. And you know what, Bentley? If you really loved my sister, you'd marry her in a courthouse and save everyone the drama. She doesn't want a courthouse wedding. She wants an $85,000 wedding that someone else pays for. There's a difference. I hung up and went back to my patients. An hour later, Riley texted me, "How are you holding up?" I just emptied my bank account and told my future brother-in-law to elope. I'm either having a breakdown or the best day of my life. Probably both. Any regrets? I looked around the hospital floor, at the other nurses running themselves ragged for 12 hours straight, at the patients who couldn't afford their medications, at the real world where people worked hard and sacrificed and didn't expect their families to bankroll their fairy tales. None, I typed back. Not a single one. My phone buzzed again. This time it was Cameron. Great news! We just got confirmation from Dr. Sarah Martinez. She's a financial therapist who specializes in family money trauma. She wants to be our keynote speaker. This is going to be incredible. I smiled for the first time in days. Maybe revenge was just the beginning. Maybe I was about to do something that actually mattered. Perfect, I texted back. Let's change some lives. Wednesday morning, I was reviewing conference materials when my phone rang. Unknown number. Is this Natalia Robertson? The voice was professional, slightly nervous. Yes. Who's this? This is Jessica from Bloom and Petal Florists. I'm calling about your Sunday event at Wild Ivy Estate. My stomach dropped. What about it? Well, we have a bit of a situation. We're also contracted to provide flowers for a wedding at the same venue, same day. The bride, Olive Robertson, she says she's your sister. She is. She's been calling us non-stop, very upset. She says there's been some mistake with the booking, that we should be delivering wedding arrangements, not conference flowers. What did you tell her? That we take direction from whoever's name is on our contract, which is you. I smiled. And what arrangements did we discuss for the conference? Simple, elegant, white lilies and greenery for the podium, small centerpieces for the registration tables. Very professional. That sounds perfect. The thing is, Ms. Robertson, your sister already paid us a deposit for wedding flowers, elaborate arrangements, bridal bouquets, centerpieces for 12 tables. She's demanding we deliver those instead. But my name is on the contract? Yes, ma'am. You're listed as the primary contact and decision maker. Then deliver what we agreed on for the conference. If Olive wants her deposit back, that's between you and her. Understood. Thank you for clarifying. After I hung up, I called Cameron. We might have a problem, I said. The florist just called. Olive's been harassing them. Actually, I was about to call you about something similar. The DJ contacted me this morning. Same situation. He's booked for both events, getting conflicting instructions. What did you tell him? Same thing I told the photographer and the caterer when they called yesterday. The booking is yours, the contracts are in your name, they take direction from you. All the vendors are getting calls from Olive. Every single one. She's telling them there's been a mistake, that someone's trying to sabotage her wedding, that they should ignore any instructions that aren't about a wedding. And they're all checking with me? They have to. Legally, you're their client. But Natalia, your sister is getting pretty aggressive. The photographer said she threatened to sue him for breach of contract. She can't do that, can she? Not successfully, but she can make everyone's life miserable trying. That afternoon, I was grabbing lunch between shifts when Riley called. You need to see Olive's latest Instagram post, she said. I don't follow her anymore. Trust me, you need to see this. I pulled up Instagram and searched for Olive's account. Her latest post was a photo of her crying, mascara streaked down her face. The caption read, "When your own sister tries to destroy your wedding out of pure jealousy, some people can't stand to see others happy. Pray for me during this difficult time." She family betrayal, she wedding drama, she sister jealousy, she prayers needed. It had over 200 likes and dozens of comments. Oh my God, I said. It gets worse. Read the comments. I scrolled through them. Most were supportive of Olive, calling me terrible names, saying I was jealous and vindictive. But a few were different. Wait, didn't you pay for this wedding yourself? Why is your sister controlling the venue? Something seems off about this story. If it's her wedding, why isn't her name on the contracts? Girl, if someone else paid for my wedding, I'd be grateful, not demanding. Riley, people are starting to ask questions. Some people, the smart ones. But look at this comment from your Aunt Linda. I found it. Natalia has always been jealous of Olive. She can't stand that Olive is getting married first. This is just petty revenge. My own family is piling on. Not all of them. Look 3 comments down. I scrolled and found a comment from my cousin Marcus. Hold up. If Natalia paid for the venue, why doesn't she get a say in how it's used? This sounds like there's more to the story. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Is this Natalia Robertson? I saw your sister's post. I'm a nurse at General Hospital downtown, and I've been in a similar situation with my family. I'd love to attend your conference if there's still space. Then another text. Hi, I'm Sarah's friend from the Instagram post. Is there really a women's empowerment conference this Sunday? I've been dealing with financial abuse from my family too. And another. Saw the drama online. Team Natalia all the way. How do I register for your event? Riley, I said. I'm getting texts from strangers who want to come to the conference. How many? 5 so far. Make that 6. Olive's pity party is backfiring. People are seeing through it. My phone rang. Cameron again. Natalia, I have good news and potentially complicated news. Give me the good news first. We're up to 120 registered attendees for Sunday. The response has been incredible. And the complicated news? Your sister showed up here an hour ago with your parents. They demanded to speak with management about the stolen booking. My heart started racing. What happened? I explained that you're the account holder and legal signatory. Your father got very loud, very fast. He said you were mentally unstable and that the family was going to have you committed to get control of the booking. He said what? Don't worry. Our legal team shut that down immediately. But Natalia, they're not giving up. Your mother was crying, your sister was screaming, and your father was threatening to sue everyone in the building. Did they leave? Security escorted them out. But they said they'd be back with lawyers. I sat down heavily in my car. Cameron, maybe I should cancel this. I don't want to drag you and the venue into a legal mess. Are you kidding? After what I witnessed today, I'm more committed to this event than ever. Your family's behaviour was appalling. The way they spoke to you, about you, the entitlement they displayed, it was exactly what your conference is designed to address. You really think so? I know so. And Natalia? Half our staff wants to attend now. They've never seen anything like what happened here today. After I hung up, I sat in the hospital parking lot, staring at my phone as more texts came in from women wanting to attend the conference. Nurses, teachers, social workers, women who'd seen Olive's post and recognised something familiar in the story. My phone buzzed one more time. A text from Olive. I hope you're happy. You've ruined everything. Bentley's parents think our family is insane. The vendors are all confused. Everyone's talking about us online. You've destroyed my reputation and my wedding for what? Some stupid conference that nobody cares about? I looked at the growing list of women who wanted to attend, at the messages of support from strangers, at the evidence that maybe, just maybe, I was doing something that mattered. I texted back, "The conference is sold out. Maybe that tells you how much people care." Then I turned off my phone and went back to work. Sunday morning, I arrived at the Wild Ivy estate at 6 a.m. The parking lot was empty, except for vendor trucks already unloading equipment. My hands were shaking as I walked through the main entrance. Natalia! Cameron appeared from behind the registration desk, looking energized despite the early hour. Ready for this? As ready as I'll ever be. The setup crew has been here since 5. Come see what we've done. He led me into the main ballroom, and I stopped dead in my tracks. The space was transformed. Gone were the romantic lighting and wedding decorations I'd seen in Olive's Instagram photos. Instead, there were rows of professional chairs facing a podium, banners reading "Reclaiming Your Worth" and "Financial Freedom Starts Here," and registration tables with neat stacks of folders and name tags. "It's perfect," I whispered. "The flowers arrived an hour ago," Cameron said, pointing to simple white lily arrangements on each table. "Jessica from Bloom and Petal said to tell you that Olive called her 6 more times yesterday demanding wedding bouquets." "What did she tell her?" "That the contract is with you, not her." A woman in her 50s approached us, extending her hand. "You must be Natalia. I'm Dr. Sarah Martinez, your keynote speaker." "Dr. Martinez, thank you so much for doing this." "Are you kidding? When Cameron told me your story, I knew I had to be here. I've been working with women who've experienced financial abuse by family members for 15 years. This event is exactly what we need." "How many people are we expecting?" 137 confirmed, Cameron said. "We had to add extra chairs." My phone buzzed. A text from Riley. "On my way, brought coffee and moral support. You've got this." By 8 a.m, the vendors were finishing setup. The DJ was testing sound equipment, the photographer was adjusting lighting, and the caterer was arranging coffee stations. Everything that Olive had booked for her wedding, now serving my conference. "Ms. Robertson," a young woman approached me nervously. "I'm Amanda from the catering team. I wanted to ask about the menu change." "What about it?" "Well, your sister called our office yesterday. She was very upset about switching from a wedding menu to conference food. She said we should ignore your instructions and prepare the original meal." "And what did you tell her?" "That our contract is with you, and we follow your menu selections. But she got pretty nasty about it. Said we were all part of some conspiracy against her." "I'm sorry she was rude to you." "It's okay. Honestly, after hearing what this event is about, I'm glad we're part of it. My own sister borrowed money from me last year and never paid it back. At 8:30, the first attendees started arriving. Women of all ages, many in professional attire, some still in scrubs from night shifts. I watched them register, pick up their welcome packets, and find seats. "Excuse me, are you Natalia?" A woman about my age approached me. "I'm Jennifer. I saw the Instagram drama and had to come. My family did something similar to me 2 years ago." "Really?" "They took money from my college fund to pay for my brother's business startup. Said it was investing in family. The business failed in 6 months. I'm so sorry." "Don't be. Coming here today feels like taking back some power. Thank you for organising this." More women approached with similar stories. A teacher whose parents had raided her savings for her sister's down payment. A social worker whose family had guilted her into paying for her cousin's medical bills while he spent his own money on a new car. A nurse whose mother had taken out credit cards in her name to fund her brother's wedding. "This is incredible," Dr. Martinez said, looking around the filling ballroom. "I've never seen response like this to a financial empowerment event." At 9:15, Cameron appeared at my elbow. "Natalia, we have a situation." "What kind of situation?" "There's a white limousine in the parking lot, and a very angry woman in a wedding dress getting out of it." My stomach dropped. Through the ballroom's floor-to-ceiling windows, I could see the limo. Olive emerged in a massive white gown, followed by my parents in formal attire. Bentley climbed out last, looking uncomfortable in his tuxedo. "They're actually here," I said. "In full wedding attire," Cameron confirmed. "Your sister is carrying a bouquet. What do I do?" "You continue with your event. This is your booking, your venue, your day. They're trespassing." Dr. Martinez had moved to the podium and was testing the microphone. "Ladies, if I could have your attention, we'll be starting in just a few minutes." The room quieted as women took their seats. Through the windows, I could see Olive gesturing wildly at the building, while my parents flanked her. Bentley was on his phone, probably calling someone. "Natalia," Cameron said quietly, "security is standing by if you need them." "Not yet. Let's see what they do." At exactly 9:30, Dr. Martinez began her opening remarks. "Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Reclaiming Your Worth, a conference on financial empowerment and family boundaries." Applause filled the room. Outside, Olive was marching toward the main entrance, her dress trailing behind her on the asphalt. "Today we're going to talk about something that affects millions of women," Dr. Martinez continued. "Financial manipulation by the people who are supposed to love and support us most." The main doors burst open. Olive stood in the doorway in her wedding gown, bouquet in hand, staring at the conference setup with her mouth open. "What the hell is this?" she screamed. Every head in the room turned. 137 women looked at my sister, then at me, then back at her. The microphone picked up her voice clearly. "This is supposed to be my wedding. This is my venue, my day." Dr. Martinez never missed a beat. And here we have a perfect example of what we'll be discussing today. The sense of entitlement that leads family members to believe they own other people's resources. Someone in the audience started clapping. Then someone else. Within seconds, the entire room was applauding, while Olive stood frozen in the doorway. "Natalia!" she shrieked over the applause. "Fix this right now!" I stood up from my seat in the front row and walked calmly to the microphone. The room fell silent. "Ladies," I said, my voice steady despite my racing heart, "I'd like you to meet my sister Olive. She's here because she expected to have her wedding in this room today, a wedding that she expected me to pay for with my life savings. When I said no, my family uninvited me and told me I was selfish." The silence was deafening. So I decided to use the venue I had legally booked for something more meaningful, something that might help other women avoid the financial manipulation I experienced. The applause started again, louder this time. Olive's face went white, then red, then white again. Behind her, my parents appeared in the doorway, taking in the scene with growing horror. "This," I said into the microphone, is what reclaiming your worth looks like. The applause died down as Olive stood frozen in the doorway, her wedding dress a stark white contrast against the professional conference setup. My parents pushed past her into the room, Dad's face purple with rage. "Natalia, what have you done?" Mum's voice cracked as she took in the scene. "I hosted an event at the venue I legally booked," I said into the microphone. "The venue I paid for." "This is insane," Dad shouted, his voice carrying across the silent room. "These people need to leave, now. This is a private family matter." Dr. Martinez stepped forward. "Sir, this is a ticketed event with paying attendees. You're the ones who need to leave." "Don't tell me what I need to do." Dad's voice got louder. "My daughter is getting married here today." "Your other daughter is hosting a conference here today," I said calmly. "With the venue I booked and paid for." Olive finally found her voice. "You can't do this to me. Everyone's coming. The photographer, the minister, Bentley's family." "Then maybe you should have asked me before spending my money," I replied. "It's not your money," she screamed. "It's family money." A woman in the third row stood up. "Excuse me, but did you just say you took her money without asking?" "Stay out of this," Olive snapped. "Actually," the woman continued, "I'm a family therapist, and what you're describing is financial abuse." Murmurs rippled through the audience. Several women were pulling out their phones, recording the confrontation. "Financial abuse?" Mum looked genuinely confused. "We're family. Families share resources." "Sharing implies consent," Dr. Martinez said. "Taking someone's savings without permission isn't sharing. It's theft." "How dare you?" Dad stepped forward aggressively, but Cameron appeared beside him. "Sir, I'm going to need you to lower your voice. This is a private venue and you're disrupting a paid event." "I don't care what kind of event this is. My daughter's wedding is supposed to be here?" "Your daughter's wedding was never legally booked," Cameron said firmly. "The contract is in Natalia's name. She's the account holder." Bentley finally spoke up from behind my parents. "Olive, maybe we should just go. We can figure something else out." "No," Olive whirled on him. "This is our day, our perfect wedding. She can't just steal it." "I didn't steal anything," I said. "I used something that belonged to me. The money belonged to the family. The money belonged to me. I earned it. I saved it. I put it in an account that you and Mom and Dad raided without asking." A woman near the back called out, "How much money are we talking about?" $85,000, I said. Gasps echoed through the room. Someone whispered, "Jesus Christ!" "That's my life savings," I continued. 7 years of working double shifts, eating ramen, living in a tiny apartment, saying no to everything I wanted, all so I could buy a house. "And they took it for a wedding?" another woman asked. Without asking, then uninvited me when I objected. The room erupted in angry murmurs. Several women were shaking their heads, others looked furious. "This is exactly what we're here to talk about," Dr. Martinez said. "The normalization of financial exploitation within families." "We didn't exploit anyone," Mum was crying now. "We're a family. Families help each other." "Help implies choice," a woman in scrubs called out. "This sounds like theft." "You people don't understand." Olive's voice was getting hysterical. "This was supposed to be perfect. My perfect day. And she ruined it because she's jealous." "Jealous of what?" I asked. "Jealous that you found someone whose family thinks big weddings are wasteful, but is happy to let my family go broke paying for one?" Bentley's face flushed red. "That's not fair, isn't it?" "Your parents aren't contributing anything to this wedding, are they?" "Our financial situation is private, but mine isn't. My savings account is apparently community property." "That's different," Dad said. "You're single. You don't have the same responsibilities." "What responsibilities?" "The responsibility to fund my sister's fairy tale." A woman in the front row stood up. "I'm sorry, but I have to ask. Why didn't you just pay for your own wedding?" Olive looked at her like she was insane. "It costs $85,000. Then maybe have a wedding that costs less? I shouldn't have to settle. This is my one wedding, my one chance to have everything perfect." "At someone else's expense," the woman replied. She's my sister. She's supposed to support me. Support doesn't mean bankruptcy, another attendee called out. Riley appeared at my elbow, having slipped in during the chaos. How are you holding up? Better than expected, I whispered. Cameron stepped forward with a folder in his hands. I have something that might interest everyone. He opened it and pulled out several documents. These are the payment records for this venue booking. What are you doing? Dad demanded. Providing transparency. The initial deposit of $15,000 came from a joint account, but the remaining $27,000 came from Natalia's personal account. She paid for this venue herself. That's impossible, Mom said. She doesn't have that kind of money. She did until last Tuesday, Cameron continued, when she transferred her life savings to secure this booking. The room went dead silent. You spent everything? Olive's voice was barely a whisper. Everything I had left after you took the rest. But where will you live? In a studio apartment I can barely afford. Because my house down payment is now paying for your conference venue. Olive's bouquet slipped from her hands and hit the floor. I didn't know you spent everything. You didn't ask. I thought you had more saved. I did, until you took it. Bentley put his hand on Olive's shoulder. Maybe we should go. But the wedding? There is no wedding, I said firmly. Not here, not today, not with my money. Dr. Martinez returned to the microphone. Ladies, I think we've just witnessed a perfect example of what happens when family members feel entitled to each other's financial resources, and more importantly, what it looks like when someone finally says no. The applause started again, building to a standing ovation. Through it all, my family stood frozen in the doorway, finally understanding that their fairy tale had become someone else's empowerment story. The conference will continue, I announced. Everyone else needs to leave. Security appeared as if summoned, gently but firmly escorting my family toward the exit. Olive's wedding dress trailed behind her like a deflated dream. As the doors closed behind them, I realized I was smiling for the first time in weeks. The conference continued for another 4 hours after my family left. Dr. Martinez delivered a powerful keynote about financial boundaries, followed by panel discussions on recognizing manipulation and protecting your assets. Women shared their stories, exchanged contact information, and several mentioned wanting to organize similar events in their own cities. Natalia, Dr. Martinez approached me during the lunch break. I've been doing this work for 15 years, and I've never seen anything like what happened here today. Good or bad? Transformative. You didn't just host a conference. You gave these women permission to value themselves. A woman named Patricia, who'd driven 3 hours to attend, stopped me near the registration table. I wanted to thank you. Watching you stand up to your family like that, I'm going home to have a conversation with my brother about the money he borrowed from me last year. Good for you. He keeps saying he'll pay me back, but he just bought a new truck. Your sister's reaction when she realized you'd spent everything? That's exactly how my brother would react if I actually demanded my money back. As attendees filtered out that evening, many left their contact information, asking to be notified about future events. Cameron handed me a folder, thick with business cards and notes. You've started something here, he said. Half these women want to organize their own conferences. Really? Really. And Natalia, the venue wants to offer you a partnership. We'd like to host a quarterly empowerment series. You'd be the lead organizer. I can't afford to organize more events. You wouldn't have to. We'd cover costs and pay you a coordinator fee. This was the most meaningful event we've hosted in years. Riley drove me home that night, both of us exhausted but oddly energized. So, she said as we pulled into my apartment complex, any regrets? About the conference? None. About your family? I looked up at my tiny studio apartment, then at the folder of contacts from women who'd thanked me for giving them courage. Ask me in a few weeks. The answer came sooner than expected. Tuesday morning, I was getting ready for work when someone knocked on my door. I opened it to find Bentley standing in the hallway, looking uncomfortable. Can we talk? He asked. About what? About Sunday, about everything. I let him in, mostly out of curiosity. He sat on my small couch and ran his hands through his hair. Olive and I got married yesterday, he said. At the courthouse. Congratulations. She cried through the whole ceremony, not happy tears. I'm sorry to hear that. No, you're not. And you shouldn't be. He looked up at me. Natalia, I owe you an apology. For what? For going along with all of it. For letting your family pressure you into paying for our wedding. For not standing up when they uninvited you. Why didn't you? Because it was easier. Because my parents always said big weddings were a waste of money, and I figured if your family wanted to pay for one, why not let them? Even though it wasn't their money. I didn't know it was your life savings. I thought your parents had wedding money set aside. Would it have mattered if you'd known? He was quiet for a long moment. It should have. And that's what I'm apologizing for. What does Olive think about all this? She's not speaking to you, or your parents, actually. She's furious that they let her believe the money was theirs to give. And you? I think what you did Sunday was the bravest thing I've ever seen, and I think my wife needs to learn the difference between dreams and entitlement. After Bentley left, I called Cameron about the partnership offer. We met that afternoon to discuss details. The venue would host quarterly empowerment conferences, with me as the lead coordinator. The pay wasn't huge, but it would cover my rent and give me a chance to do work that actually mattered. There's something else, Cameron said as we finished going over contracts. We've had 3 other venues call asking about hosting similar events. Word is spreading. What kind of word? That there's a nurse in the city who turned her family's financial abuse into a movement. My phone had been buzzing all week with messages from women who'd attended the conference. Some were organising their own events. Others were sharing their stories online. A few had confronted family members who'd been taking advantage of them financially. Jennifer, the woman whose family had raided her college fund, texted me Thursday. Had the conversation with my brother. He's paying me back $500 a month starting next week. Thank you for showing me it was okay to ask. Friday afternoon, I was leaving the hospital when I saw a familiar car in the parking lot. Mum sat in the driver's seat, looking older than I remembered. I walked over and tapped on the window. She rolled it down, her eyes red from crying. I've been sitting here for an hour, she said, trying to figure out what to say to you. How about starting with why you're here? Your father doesn't know I came. He's still furious about Sunday. And you? I'm ashamed. Her voice broke. I'm ashamed that we took your money. I'm ashamed that we uninvited you. I'm ashamed that it took watching you stand up in front of all those people for me to realise what we'd done. Mum. No, let me finish. You worked so hard for that money. 7 years of sacrifice and we just took it. Like it belonged to us. It did belong to me. I know that now. I knew it then too, but I convinced myself it was different because we're family. Family doesn't mean free access to my bank account. I know. And Natalia, I'm proud of what you did Sunday. Terrified and embarrassed, but proud. What about Dad? Your father is... your father. He thinks you humiliated the family. I stood up for myself. I know. And maybe it's time more of us learned how to do that. She drove away, without asking for forgiveness, which somehow meant more than if she had. That weekend, I signed the partnership agreement with Wild Ivy Estate. The next conference was scheduled for December, focused on holiday financial boundaries. We already had a waiting list. Sunday night, I was updating the conference website when my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Hi, I saw the video from your conference online. My daughter's wedding is next month, and my family is pressuring me to pay for it with my retirement savings. Can you help? I smiled and typed back, the next conference is in December, but I can connect you with some resources now. You're not alone in this. Because that's what I'd learned. None of us were alone in this. We just needed permission to stop paying for other people's dreams with our own futures. And sometimes that permission had to come from ourselves. I posted a photo on Instagram that night, me at the conference podium, smiling genuinely for the first time in months. The caption read, "Real dreams don't come from guilt-tripped money. They come from owning your power." Within an hour, it had 50 likes and a dozen comments from women sharing their own stories of financial manipulation and recovery. I was building something bigger than revenge. I was building a community, and for the first time in 7 years, I was building it for me.